Bro, look at that, man. Just look at how good this looks. Oh my goodness, dude. I don't know if it's just me, but can anyone see just the visual upgrade of this episode? Like, it feels like season 2 of Oshi no Ko is just a straight up, like, it went from already a beautiful anime from season 1 to just, like, times 100. It is outright just beautiful. Just this alone really just showcases that, because like one of the big alluring factors of Oshi no Ko is the eye design, like the many different eye colors, etc. within the series, and just the color here, the way Kana's hair is done, the different shadings to showing actually her real self to the other self that's her playing the character within the stage play. It is just it's so gorgeous, man. And this isn't the only scene. There's literally segments throughout this episode where you like see this little splash of like the colors splashing onto Akane and Aqua. And I love this visual because it represents like Kana's personality finally letting itself free, coming out and just making colors onto other people, allowing her actual personality to paint over everybody else and showcase that she is here, she is a very phenomenal actor, and that she is someone that you have to pay attention to. I love the showcasing of this. This is definitely this is an expression of art that this wasn't in the manga. Like, if I'm remembering correctly, the way this is done, this was not in the manga. And just the way this is color paletted and all that, it is just incredible. No word I can say right now that comes to mind could properly describe just how beautiful this episode is. It is that good. And the visual upgrade isn't just for this, but it's just basically the entire episode is just phenomenal, to the little tricks and little doodads they do throughout the episode to make it immersive and even educational at that. It's mind-blowing. This is a legitimately incredible start to season 2 of Oshi no Ko, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's dive in to the very beginning of Oshi no Ko Season 2 Episode 1, and then let's work our way towards the end of the episode. So the beginning of the episode of Oshi no Ko, for the most part, it's very risky. I feel like the storyboarder, the director, and the staff that was working on this episode, they did a very risky play with the first few minutes of this episode. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you take a look here, like we'll go literally to the first few seconds to literally like 45 seconds in to a minute in, etc. You literally see that basically the screen doesn't really change much. You see the audience on the bottom, you see the middle where the characters are basically silhouettes and they only appear when, like, for instance, they're being showcased on the side screens. And this is a very risky thing, because a lot of people not really looking too deep into this could say that this is very lazy. This is very lazy beginning to Oshi no Ko. But in reality, this is something that honestly I love to see from animators, because it's artistic. It shows freedom of expression from the artist that is working on this show, because I don't believe the way this was not in the manga the way this looked. This is not. The way this is being depicted is definitely anime original. And I feel like the way this is done in the first 3 minutes of the episode is obviously to spotlight, what to expect from this season in terms of like the story that we're going to be covering, and what of our main characters from Oshi no Ko is going to be starring which character in the stage play, and showcasing that the very theme of this, story right now that we're getting into for Oshi no Ko, it's going to be a stage play. It's going to be, theater. It's going to be basically doing something a little bit different than what we saw from season 1, but sticking to the core elements and roots of what Oshi no Ko is about. And this expression of the art and animation is very risky, but I love it. I absolutely love this beginning, and I just love getting to see kind of like the manga to the anime. Like, look at this. This honestly shows the love and attention to detail, and I really appreciate this. But, like, they show a manga version. Like, this is in universe, by the way. And I guess, like, once again, I'm getting ahead of myself. But what's going on here is that our characters, like Aqua and them, they are adapting a manga to a stage play. And the manga is called Tokyo Blade. And from the information you get from this episode, Tokyo Blade is incredibly popular. It has over like 50 million copies, I believe, like in terms of sales or in print or whatever. It's very popular within universe of Oshi no Ko. And so it getting a stage play is like a no-brainer. You see stage plays for very popular series all the time in our real society. Like, One Piece gets it, obviously Naruto could get it, you get the point. There's stage plays. And I just seeing the manga version equivalent here, and then you showcase a little scene on the side. It showcases the stage play characters like Kana playing the character. I love that. That's really cool. And once again, it goes the extra mile of immersion and showcases the level that the staff that's working on the show is trying to do for Oshi no Ko. And this is why I talked about when I began this video. Just the visual upgrade to the show is just extremely noticeable. It is way beyond what Season 1 was doing, and I love the artistic approach that they're doing. They're being very fluid with this episode. They are not restricting themselves just to a manga panel. They are expressing it with just a wide painting. It's like, imagine a manga panel. It's, you know, a regular manga panel. It's like in a cube, okay? What they're doing with the adaptation of adapting manga panels, they're putting it on the paper and then they're splashing, kind of like what, you know, Kana was doing. You know, they're splashing paint all over it and stretching it out to make it an even better masterpiece than they were. And this elevates the manga this elevates the anime way beyond the manga. It is, honestly, I gotta be blunt, it's better than the manga. It is just straight up night and day, and I'm not trying to put down the manga by any means, okay? I want to make sure I say that, because people will assume I'm kind of crapping on the manga. No, the manga is incredible. I love Oshi no Ko's manga, and this arc that we're obviously adapting here is one of the best arcs in the manga. It's at least in top 3 for pretty much almost everyone that reads the manga. It is a really freaking good arc. And the fact of the matter is that the way this is being adapted just makes that arc already, just like in the manga, look less than the anime. But to be fair, an anime has voice acting, it has the colors, it has just the sound effects, animation, and, you know, obviously a manga can't really compete with that. The only thing that a manga really can compete with is beautiful artwork. That's it. But the thing is that when an anime really does go all in, when the staff really wants to juice something, then the anime will succeed the original source almost in every degree, if there is a really good staff behind it. And that is exactly the case here that is going on with Oshi no Ko Season 2, Episode 1. Now, besides, you know, this beginning here, I do need to kind of dive into the opening song. I'm going to be blunt here. I like this opening song a lot. I don't know if I like it more than Season 1's opening. I love the voice, like the voiceover, like, you know, just the music, the lyrics, so to speak, of the original opening of Oshi no Ko. But visual department, they're comparable. I think that the symbolism in Season 1 really hits me hard with Ai and all that, and Aqua and Ruby, but there is also some depth and story that's also in this opening song as well. I mean, we have this whole little section to where, like, you have, like, Aqua and Ruby, they have this little facade, like, they have masks and stuff, and I love how, like, they have to take them off. It is absolutely just a beautiful little segment. I love this, like, the reincarnation, getting to see, like, you know, Aqua from his original body, what he is right now. You have the whole, like, little segment where they, like, chase after Ai's ghost and shadow, and they jump off and all that, and then, like, it goes into, like, this battle manga segment. It's legitimately just such a great little segment here. They go into this, like, battle manga segment here, and, like, if you were not paying attention, it straight up looks like, you know, a battle manga, and it makes perfect sense, because it's like Tokyo Blade within the universe of Oshi no Ko is a battle manga. So I love, like I said, the, you know, freedom of expression that these animators are doing, not just with, like, the opening song, but just the entire episode. And this is just a showcasing. This is just a peek of what the season has to offer. And if this is just the beginning, I cannot imagine later episodes. Oh my goodness, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Like, this is going to completely destroy Season 1 in terms of just, like, quality. Like, and Season 1 was good. Like, really good in terms of quality. And this is showcasing that. It's probably going to demolish that. Now, with the opening song out of the way, I will say that, man, I love these little visuals here. The line work is just so good. The way the eye color is, it pops so well. And, like, these Kana scenes, too. Like, I really, once again, I feel like whoever is drawing these scenes, they really love Kana. It's very apparent to me that Kana gets a lot of love in terms of the art department. Like, look at the way the hair is done, the way it's, like, on her hand and stuff. There's just a lot of expression here with her character, and I cannot help but just be mesmerized by just how good it looks. I mean, even the eyes, like, just look at the eyes, dude. They're just so expressive. Anyways, we get into the main segment of, the first part of this episode. It's more or less kind of reminding us what's going on. Akane is basically the stand-in girlfriend for, Aqua at the moment, even though they're kind of fake, thanks to the TV show. Akane's taking it a little bit seriously, trying to make it seem like, their boyfriend-girlfriend, and it's very clear Aqua is kind of keeping himself kind of at a distance for the most part. On top of that, you get to see just basically, like, the reminder of Ai and all that, Ai's connection with the characters, to also finding out a little bit more about what's going on, for instance, to the script, that they're adapting, the Shibuya conflict arc and all that within, Tokyo Blade. And I guess this is a perfect segue to kind of talk about the adaptation of Tokyo Blade and how it's very relevant and educational for the audience, actually, us, the watchers of this show. It was educational in the manga, but I feel like it's way more educational in the anime because obviously this is a manga getting adapted into an anime, and so it kind of like, it can tell these themes a lot better because you can compare, cross-comparison, like this arc within the manga of Oshi no Ko with the anime of Oshi no Ko and just see the core differences and stuff. And I think that, the discussion of oversimplification to cut content and changing characters' personalities is very well explained within this episode. When Akane confronts the scriptwriter and director of this stage play, they're basically aware. They're aware of the problems. They're aware that, like, Akane's character that she is adapting isn't necessarily the same person that's within the original source of the manga. She is someone that has been dumbed down to be more overjoyous and happy about massacres, while her character within the manga is someone that is very conflicted about war and conflict, and she, wants to not see people suffer. And so, obviously, when you go from the manga and you go to the stage play adaptation, you could just see the whiplash. Anyone that likes her character and enjoys that character is going to be a little bit disappointed and upset to see that character done like that. And this can be said for basically anime and manga and light novel adaptations, etc. There's been a lot of things I've seen over the years where you have a character that's adapted to an anime and they're not properly showcased to what they really are supposed to be. Their personality and main thing that makes them is lost in translation to, like, an anime adaptation. And I just love how this was commented on, and the reason for why this happens is because obviously they can't showcase everything thanks to just time constraints. And they talk about that. They say that the stage play has, a run length time, and they obviously have to fit in enough of the content, for instance, the conflict arc that they were talking about in the stage play, and I'm going to assume an average stage play is like an hour and a half or something. I don't know necessarily, I don't watch many stage plays, but I'm going to assume it's something around that, and so they need to tell a cohesive beginning, middle, and end story of that into a stage play and trying to make it understandable to the audience, because obviously stage play is going to be very different from reading in a manga at your own pace, page by page. And so obviously there needs to be simplification. Things need to be simplified to make it a lot easier for the audience to understand, and that's what they say. And you even have the scriptwriter here, this guy here, he's obviously a fan of Tokyo Blade. He even says that he feels like a villain or a bad guy having to simplify everything, but it must be done to be able to have the stage play adapted. And even the director says that, at the end of the day, he can't really change it because overall, if he was to change things, it would just cause so many problems and it would take away from, like, the pacing and flow of the show, which is another big detail, is that a lot of people take this for granted, but don't really understand that a lot of times the reason why things are cut or removed is because it would remove the pacing or completely halt the pacing of a show. Because when you read a manga or you read a light novel, it's very different because you're reading words. You're able to imagine it in your head, you're able to stop when you want, etc., continue to read as much as you want. But when you're watching an episode, it's 20-something minutes, and they need to not end an episode in the middle of a conversation. They need to end it at a good stopping point. And so a pacing of an episode needs to be good, and that's the same thing that can be said about the stage play. And so that is why some content has to be simplified or trimmed down to be able to flow with the pacing and not take away from the main conflict that the stage play is trying to do. Like I said, very educational segment of the episode, and I feel like obviously a lot of people, they don't need to see this, they don't need to care about this, obviously, but for those that, only take away, oh, this is a cool story, this is interesting, etc., that's completely fine. But if you're one of those that want to dive into the deep well, and you're wanting to find out more content and educational purposes, then you obviously can, because that's what this episode does, and I really love that. And this episode is just outright incredible for Oshi no Ko, and seriously, I love the ending as well, how the author kind of comes into the studio and starts talking about, like, how everything in the script needs to be changed, and this is a good way to talk about that as well. So a lot of people are going to be like, wait a minute, are you telling me an author has this much weight or pull with an adaptation for a stage play or an anime, etc.? And I feel like yes and no, and I want to reinstate something that this episode made sure to clarify. That this author here, she has a very popular series that has 50 million cells or 50 million manga volumes in print, okay, of Tokyo Blade. She's obviously a very successful author. She has a lot of weight. She has a lot of pull, so to speak, in the industry. So her words definitely carry a lot further than, let's say, a newcomer into a magazine that's making a new manga that only has maybe 50 chapters. So you factor all of that in. Yeah, so this offer has a lot more pull. Now, here's the thing. Even if most offers had this same amount of pull or strength, the problem is being very aggressive and wanting your series to be adapted properly in a stage play or an anime could cause it to where you cause conflict within the production and cause it to where that production and the staff and everybody don't ever want to work with you again in the industry. And so you can obviously see why a lot of offers don't buckle, or why a lot of offers bend and buckle, because they don't want to ruin opportunities in the future, because they don't have enough political weight in terms of, like, how popular they are to really force their opinion. It's kind of like Oda. Oda's a good example of this. You know, Oda, the author of One Piece. Oda is so huge in the industry in Japan that anything he says, basically, when it comes to probably an anime or whatever, it goes. It has to go for him. It's like he has final say. If he wants something done, it's going to be done. That's pretty much what I can assume Oda's capable of. He is free to do what he wants, so to speak. And because of that, I feel like if you're at a point within, like, the manga industry, etc., to have as much weight or you're as popular as that, you're able to do whatever you want. But if you're not, you gotta kind of hold your mouth. You gotta hold back your words and just let it happen, so to speak. So it's sad, but I feel like this episode is also very educational for that. Absolutely love what this episode did. Great start to Oshi no Ko, and I cannot wait to talk about the next episode when it comes out next week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. But with that, be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.